In March of 2022, I decided to come up with a project. I wanted to really give an ode to women, right? For Women's History Month. And I came up with the story of her. And shortly after I decided to go this route, I have to be honest, this project morphed and took on a life of its own. The stories that you're going to hear tonight, though they may be different, they're one and the same. It's like the old tale of what happens in this house stays in this house. Tonight, we're going to be breaking that stigma. Some of the stories that you're going to hear tonight may jar you. They may open up some wounds. They may even trigger you. But these stories are necessary, and they're necessary to open up a conversation, a dialogue. I'm truly excited about this project. I'm excited about the trials, but also the triumphs. And I want to share that with you. So, without further ado, the story of her.
I just couldn't wrap my mind around being 9 years old and wanting to have sex. Hi, my name is Nijba Tirado and I am 30 years old. I am a wife, a mother, and I am an educator and a business owner. One of the hardest seasons of my life was becoming an orphan. At the age of 8, my mother passed away after having given birth to my youngest siblings, who are twins. And about a year later, my father also passed away. So at the age of 9, I found myself as an orphan of both my mother and my father. At this point, I really didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know what they were suffering of. I didn't know what would happen. To be quite honest, I really thought it was a bad dream, and I couldn't wait for it to end. I still remember walking down the street in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in the city of Kananga specifically, after my father died and it was announced on the news. And hearing people talk about Dr. Kasanga's death made me wonder, who is this man that they're talking about? And I remember people looking at me like, why are you even going to school today? Your father just died. And it almost felt like they were talking about a celebrity that I didn't even know about. And to be honest, it took years before the reality sunk in that I was truly an orphan. And probably this reality sunk in when I experienced the second hardest season of my life. After my parents died, we were split between other family members. In my culture, the children belong to the paternal side, and so we were all divided into different households. And it is in this moment, in this season, where one of my family member took advantage of me sexually and ended up molesting me and raping me. And to be honest, this was the first time that I realized the parents' role in children's life. My covering, my protection was no longer there. And I still remember this family member telling me that I had no one to run to. This is why they could take advantage of me. And I remember feeling hopeless. I remember feeling betrayed by God, by people. This was supposed to be a family member who I could trust. This was supposed to be a blood relative who had my best interests at heart. And yet they took away something that was so precious to me. And I wish I could say it only happened for one day. This went on for about 3 to 4 years. I had to relive the constant abuse, the constant emotional, physical, sexual abuse of this individual. And even when I sought help from others, I was told that I was lying. I was told that I was making it up, and even suffered disciplinary actions. But it wasn't until I came to the United States where I'm so grateful for education. I'm so grateful for a class in family life when they were talking about just this idea of reproduction and menstrual cycle, which, to be honest with you, I'm from a culture where these things are not necessarily talked about. And understanding that when you engage in sexual intercourse, you can become pregnant. And I remember being in class at about 13 years old telling myself, oh my goodness, this could happen. I could literally have a baby by my own relative. And I panicked. I couldn't imagine being 14 and pregnant. And I remember that day running to another female cousin and just starting to ask her a lot of questions about sex and intimacy, which then made her wonder, why are you asking these things? And so, ashamed, guilty, I confessed to her. I said, hey, this is what's happening in the middle of the night. And I'm so grateful for her because she immediately took the initiative to tell her father, and we were able to then remove the individual from the house. And as much as I want to say that that was the beginning of me living this life of freedom and excitement, and everything went back to this, yes, I'm living like a teenager, it really wasn't, because I now found myself having to carry the shame and the guilt and the judgment of other people. I was told that I was the one who wanted it. I was told that I was the whore. I was told that I was just a fast teenager. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around being 9 years old and wanting to have sex. I had never been even introduced to the idea before, even in a movie, because we weren't allowed to watch those kind of things. And so to think that at 9 I would choose to go have sex with a family member was absurd. I was deemed a witch who had brought sin into the family. And quite honestly, those words really stayed with me for a long time. I was told that I would never get married. I was told that I would never have children of my own. So many curses, in a way, word curses, that were just kind of put on me as if I had the choice, right? I don't think any rape victim has a choice. That is why it's called rape. And so just struggling in those years with low self-esteem, with not knowing where to run to. I still remember walking into a church at about 14 years old and hearing the gospel for the first time. This pastor was talking about how Jesus died on the cross for the forgiveness of my sins, and that, if I placed my faith in him, I would have eternal life. And to be honest with you, I remember walking to the altar because I felt as though everyone else had abandoned me. There was nowhere else to run. And so I went to the altar on August 14, 2005 and accepted Christ into my heart. But honestly, I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I wish I could stand here or sit here and say that my life took a turn after that. It was a long process of sanctification. The molestation and the rape led me into a life of promiscuity because I was looking for self-worth in being able to have these relationships with men. And I want to say that, the first person who raped me or took advantage of me was the only person. Unfortunately, no. There were others who came along and allowed themselves to be part of my story of pain. And so it took about 6 to 7 years of just walking in this lifestyle of living a double life, where I felt like I knew Christ, but at the same time, I lived a lifestyle of fornication. I lived a lifestyle of really guilt and shame. And I'm grateful for the people that God sent in my life who saw the gift in me and who could cultivate that and who could disciple me. And I still remember, I think at the age of 21, God just drawing the line and saying, are you going to surrender your heart to me, or are you going to keep playing this game? And I remember surrendering my heart to the Lord. And that is when the process of healing really began. And obviously, in the background, there's still turmoil with family relationships. There's still the idea of wanting to belong, because now it's like I'm an orphan, but I understand that I'm part of God's kingdom, and yet I long to be with my siblings. I miss my parents. How do I enter into relationships that are going to lead into marriage and tell someone, oh, by the way, I've been raped. Oh, by the way, here's my list of sin. And it was just, it was difficult. And if I could go back to the younger version of me, I would really ask myself to cry out for help, to find someone who is willing to mentor me, to disciple me, to walk alongside with me, to take me to counseling, to just be the person that I needed to have conversations with, and to lead me to Christ and to the truth and to the principles of biblical freedom in Christ. But not only that, to learn how to survive as an adult. What does managing my money look like, and what does having healthy relationship look like? And so it was definitely difficult, but I'm so thankful because I have overcome these adversities, these difficulties that have presented myself. And I'm so grateful because I've learned how to steward pain. I realize that pain is something that comes to all of us, no matter who you are, whether you are the CEO of a company, whether you are the janitor, whether you are born into a rich family or a poor family. It doesn't matter. Pain really doesn't discriminate. Our pain are different, and how we tolerate pain is different, but we all have to learn how to steward it. And for me as a believer, it was really important that I learned to steward it in a godly way. I learned to steward it by, one, acknowledging that the pain is real. I think a lot of people want to pretend like things are not happening. No, it is happening. It's real. Acknowledging that it's happening. And then I had to accept that, yes, I had become an orphan, and yes, it felt unfair, but somehow God in his infinite wisdom and sovereign power saw fit for it to be allowed. And I had to accept that this was my reality. And then lastly, I had to act. I had to choose to be a good steward of this pain. Will I let it define me and be a victim, or would I use it in order to be able to bring glory to God and be able to help other people who find themselves in a similar situation as me? And so that's what I have decided to do, to be a voice for those who find themselves in dysfunctional families, who find themselves as orphans, who find themselves in blended families, who find themselves voiceless, who find themselves hopeless, to be able to say, look, I was there. I was once in your shoes. And I know that if God can do it for me, he can do it for you too.
I pretty much just wanted to give my child something different. I wanted to give my child what I lacked. Hi, my name is Ashley Taliaferro-Davis. The hardest season of my life was when I had to leave my daughter's father and start over. I was with my daughter's father for 7 years, and I only have one child, and he's a bit older, so I felt like this was perfect. I did not have the best childhood cohesiveness. My parents are divorced, and I pretty much just wanted to give my child something different. I wanted to give my child what I lacked. In doing that, I found that I was with an amazing man. He was an amazing provider. He was a great father, but he just was a horrible companion. I chose to speak on this because a lot of people don't realize that they're in domestic violence situations until they get out. A lot of people feel like, no, that could never happen to me, until it happens to them. So there were a couple. The first time was actually December 2010. My daughter was born in March. So this obviously happened after she was born, thinking that everything is great. And, he had 3 other kids prior to our child together. So we're becoming a family unit. And I am pouring everything into this relationship. His kids, love me. I love his kids. And the first time he ever put his hands on me was December 2010. And as most people do that are the abusers, he said he would never do it again. And it just escalated because at that point, it was more than physical abuse. I could sit here and count and tell you all the times that I had to deal with how he put his hands on me, but that struggle was more of a temporary struggle. My struggle was more, I still struggle to this day with the psychological abuse, the verbal abuse, the mental and emotional abuse. And I just kind of let things be what they were because I felt like what I needed wasn't as important as what my child needed. I needed to be happy and I needed to be at peace, but I didn't need to sacrifice my child's happiness to do that. But I was wrong because that is not how we as parents are supposed to live. It wasn't until my child was 5 and she said to me, I was on the phone with my daughter's father and we were arguing, and my child at 5, once I hung up, said, "Mommy, is Daddy gonna hit you when you get home?" To me, that was it. Because as parents, we are sent to guide our children. We are supposed to support and guide. And I felt like in that moment that I was failing as a parent. I felt like I was displaying a love, what I thought was love, that my child would go after when she got older. And that is not what I wanted. I didn't want my child to feel like, that it's okay for the person that loves you to put their hands on you. It's okay for the person that loves you to call you names and call you outside of your names. And it's okay for the person that loves you to tell you that you're worthless and that you're only good for sex, or you're only good for this, or you're only good for that. And to make you truly believe that. So at that point, I decided that I would start to gather my things after 5 years and figure out how I could move forward. There were times, even in the last year, there were times where, I had a hot iron thrown at me, or I had his knee in my neck while he was spitting in my face, telling me that I could never go anywhere, or just pulling me down the steps by my hair. And in those moments, I felt like I couldn't leave, but I knew because of what my daughter said to me, I had to. There was a time where we fought and both of my contacts fell out. I thankfully got my keys, but he had my phone. So I literally drove to Denby from Hampton, which is about a 20-minute ride. I drove with no contacts, no shoes, no phone, and just drove to my aunt's house and just cried. He wouldn't allow my child to leave with me. And it's just like those times, like I look back now and I say, why would you stay? Why would you think that that's okay? It's not okay. That's not love. Love is kind. Love is gentle. Those are not, that's not love. So it was September of 2016. I had just got a new job, paying a little bit more money. So I was like, okay, so maybe this, God has sent me this job so that I can really do what I've been telling myself for the past year that I need to do. I need to get up and leave. And one day I just went and I filled out an application for an apartment and I left. I handed him my lease. I told him that I was packing up. And, at that point, of course, as most people do, it was I'll change and things like that. But I had heard that for years. And it just wasn't, it wasn't, again, not even just what I wanted for my child, but his children as well. Like, he has a son and his son lived with us. And I, as a bonus parent for his son, didn't want him to think that he should be with the woman that allows it. Because that's also not truth. So I packed up September 2016. I went ahead and I left and I moved into my own 2-bedroom townhouse with my child. And it was hard. It was the most difficult time of my life. Financially, because he was the breadwinner. Emotionally, because I kept thinking that I was robbing my child of something. I was robbing my child of having 2 parents in a home. Physically, it was a struggle because I started to eat more. That was my coping mechanism, was eating. Gained a lot of weight. I was very unhappy. So it got to the point where my dad told me, I think you should go to counseling. I think you need to talk to somebody. My dad was actually coming to get my daughter because he just knew that I wasn't in the right mind space. So here I am sleeping on an air mattress for the first year, making sure that my daughter had everything. I had no dresser. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have, I didn't have a lot of things. But I still said to myself, this is right. This is what I need. Even in the times where I felt like, should I go back? Things may be different. I had to realize that, I'm struggling right now, but I'm only struggling because I'm doing the right thing. Struggle comes when you're uncomfortable and you have a sense of discomfort when you are being put into where you're supposed to be. So I did. I actually went to counseling, like my dad suggested. My dad started to teach me a little bit more about finances and how to save and how to manage money better because I didn't have anyone else to fall back on. Counseling was the best thing for me. I went to a Christian counseling group in the same city that I lived, and that is what turned things around. It made me realize that beforehand, I had never said that I was a domestic violence victim. Never said that I was in a situation like that. Of course, now, years later, I'm still in counseling. I still struggle. To this day, I still struggle with the things that I remember and replay in my mind. When things don't go the right way, I still remember the things that my daughter's father, who I have a relationship with now, we co-parent, but I still remember the things that he would say to me. I still struggle with those things. But I have found peace. I started from the bottom, literally sleeping on an air mattress, and my child asking me, well, why can't we go live with daddy? I just want to live with my daddy. I struggled, but I overcame. Most people feel like when they leave, they won't have the same quality of life. They won't be able to be awarded with the same lifestyle and things like that. And that very well may be true at first. Because I dealt with that. I wasn't able to go out and do things or do for my child the way that I thought the way that I did before. But I was able to eventually buy a bed for myself, make sure my daughter's room was exactly decorated the way that she wanted it decorated. And it got to the point where I could start to see my daughter was happy. You as a parent can't be happy. You cannot be the best you and still be the best parent. And that's what I learned through that. I can want my child to have a certain family unit. I can want her to have, I could say that this is the best thing for her. But if it's not best for me, then I'm not giving that to her. If my child sees me unhappy and sees me crying and sees me hurt, then I can't be the best mommy for her. And because of that, I just kept pushing myself. I kept pushing. I can do this. It was hard. I struggled. And because of that, I was diagnosed with manic depression, anxiety. Still now, my anxiety gets, it has gotten to the point where I can manage it, but it's still there. And certain things that they may come with you after you decide that this is what's best and I need to leave, but that's okay. Because I may struggle with anxiety now, and I may struggle with making sure that I'm loved correctly or loving someone correctly, because that's not what I dealt with for years prior to. But what I can say is that I brought those things with me by leaving. But I also brought peace. I brought happiness. I brought a sense of self-worth. And I brought that with me, knowing that that is the type of woman that I want my child to see and grow up with. Not the one. And her dad and her still have a relationship. We even have a relationship because in me finding peace, I had to find comfort in knowing that what he did and what we went through was not me. I had to know that when he used to say, you're only good for this, or this is happening because of you. And now, because of that, we have a great co-parenting relationship. I am all for the relationship that my child has with him because,
You matter always, and you are enough. Always. My name is Chennay Murphy, and the hardest season of my life was I was finishing up my last 2 years of high school. My parents' relationship had been rocky for quite some time. And around my mother's birthday, we had a very nice visitor come through. And it was one of my father's girlfriends come on by and knock on the door and say that she was there to not only move in, but that my mom was going to a crazy house and she wanted to introduce herself to myself and my sister as our stepmom. So from that day, my father was in the backyard working on his car. He came around front, had a conversation with her, asked her to leave. She wouldn't. My mother's trying to get some answers. Me and my sister in the front door foyer, trying to really grasp what's happening as we're watching her mother spiral into an emotional warfare, not only with herself, but with her partner, our father. From that point on, we had to move into a family member's home that was a few doors down. And it was more than hard to look at my childhood home that I had grew up in. And again, I'm around 16, 17 years old. That I grew up in and see other people be moved in. While for a short time, my mother, my sister at the time that was about 11, and myself moved into one bedroom while he carried on with his life. After that, a short time went by. I took it upon myself to walk down the street and catch my father outside and say, hey, I want to come back home. Mom's not coming. I'm speaking for myself and my sister. Can we at least have our rooms back? The answer is no. And I can't give you a time frame for when the people that are in the house are actually going to be out of the house for me to even give you your space back. Of course, one of those people was the woman that came to the door and her children. So what I learned from that experience was you have every right to your feelings, and every action has a reaction. The only thing you can control is your reaction. So I had to make a choice. I could have easily gone down a path of anger and resentment. And of course, those emotions came over me, but it didn't consume me. And from that being uncomfortable, it definitely showed me what I was really made of and what I was going to make of a horrible situation. From that point on, the relationship with my father was pretty much non-existent until I hit about 27, 28, and I had my daughter, my small child. And I don't know, maybe his wake-up call kind of came through and we started to come into some terms on things and how things played out back then. Never fully resolved. My daughter was the gateway for the opportunity for that conversation, though. Not too long after that, he passed away from cancer. So a lot of unanswered questions, at the time, unresolved emotions that came from that. But you learn to just accept it for what it was. And sometimes you'll never really know the truth. You just hold on to yours. And that's what I did. I just held on to mine. How that has affected me into the woman that I am today. I would use the word unfortunately, but it doesn't seem fitting. So my daughter's father and I are not together. We were engaged to be married prior to even a child was thought of. And things definitely went downhill after that, after she was born. Gave it a few tries. We didn't formally split until she was about 3. Me and him have a pretty solid relationship right now. It's not the best, but my main focus is just being good parents to our daughter. I'm not one to ever, I've never said this out loud, that I have daddy issues. Your girl might got a little daddy issue because he was not around. Even though we lived in the house for a very long time, he was not around. And that's a misconception that just because both parents are in the home, that both parents are present. Which brought me to the actual conscious realization that I was willing to have both parents for my daughter in the home, but at some point, one of us was not going to be present because at the end of the day, there was a disconnect between me and him. That was going to be more harmful to the creation that didn't ask to be here than if we just went separate ways and was okay with being healthy, happy individuals over here. So, got the first part together. I got to figure out what's going on in here to get this last part together. So, I attribute my strength to my mother. She has been my front, my back, my left, my right, even when we didn't see eye to eye. There are a lot of times we still don't see eye to eye. With that being said, I'm just now understanding why she's like that. I had to take a step out of myself and from the phase of like transitioning from teenager to young woman to actual woman now with a child of my own, to understand what those experiences for her did and has really cultivated into the woman that she is. So she's gone through her own set of trials, tribulations, trauma, and heartache before I even came into the picture. And then to experience what she went after I got here, with not only with her partner, with family, with her friends, with her just being a woman within herself, I respect how she views the world because that's from her personal experience. She did what she had to do. But just seeing that type of day in, day out fear of scarcity scared me at a very young age. So I put a lot of my dreams on the back burner because I have to do something that's going to provide some type of stability. And not only for myself, but I don't even know where my mother's going to end up. And just to make sure everybody's okay. So in high school, I was a dancer. Captain of the dance team for 3 out of the 4 years, choreographed, like that was my heart. Music, my first love. Because I couldn't visualize how I could turn dance into something that was going to provide financial stability, I didn't do it. Even though I was wonderful at it. Still love to do it to this day, but it wasn't feasible from where I come from to pursue something like that. Do I wish I had? Yes. I feel like I could have pursued that and figured out something else also to coincide with that would have provided some stability, but I didn't have the resources to say this is how that could look. It was mostly a shot in the dark. So I relied on my academics. I got 2 full rides to 2 in-state institutions and 1 to a college in Spain for pursuing Spanish as a second language. And of course, with scarcity being the issue, I stayed home and took the full ride to ODU. I didn't finish at ODU when I had to, but when I planned to, because money became an issue. So Chennay had to go to work. to make sure that everybody at home is okay. Something you just take for the team. I know my mother and my sister would have done the same for me if the tables had been turned. They've always been there for me. I'm trying to cultivate a life where my child doesn't have to heal from childhood trauma because I've ignored my gut instincts or disregarded red flags. And now she has to backtrack to try to figure out what she experienced as a child and apply that to her adult life. She didn't ask to be here. It's my job to make sure that I do everything within my power possible, that she is supported, she is more than well equipped to withstand some of the things that's going to shake her in life. Because she's going to get shook. But it would tear me up if I knew that I didn't do what I needed to do to make sure her roots were at least strong to weather whatever storm that is. That's my why for what I do right now. And I try to be very conscious of the decisions that I make, and I try to be very conscious of what she is exposed to, because it plays a huge role, especially at the impressionable age that she is right now. Absolutely. My job to ensure that I can do whatever I can and more to make sure that she's good. We always use the phrase, we gotta raise these kids. I don't view parenthood that way. We do not raise children. We raise adults. There are adults for way longer than they are kids. But this short time frame that we actually have with them before they start exercising the words, I'm grown, we have to instill something up here that's going to come out in their personality and how they treat others and how they allow others to treat them. It's very, very imperative. So, how I view the world today, I still consider myself an optimist. Very much so. I always try to look for the good in the situation and people, even if it's in something that may be displeasing to me at the moment. There's something good in it that I can learn and take from it. When it comes to looking for the good in people, I've learned to exercise a bit more caution, and being more aware and attentive to certain things, certain word choice. I'm really big on semantics and how things are illustrated in people's lives. That's how I view the world. I think it's still a wonderful place to be. And there are a lot more experiences that are waiting for me that will allow me to gain so much more and have an even more fulfilling life instead of living in my past and what I've gone through. I don't think I look anything like what I've gone through, which is wonderful. And I take that as a blessing, and not in a conceited fashion like, oh, I look good. No. My spirit comes out, and it comes out as light. And I am very appreciative of that, because I could hone in on all of the negativity and all of the bad things and how many things didn't go my way and how I'm not in the space in my life where I thought I should be at this point. And being 31 and having a kid, I could really just focus on that. I don't think that would do me any good. I don't think it would do myself any good or anybody that I decide to have myself around any good. If you can't add to someone else's life in a positive way, are you really living or just existing? Because at that point, it just feels like you're taking up space. Take those experiences that you have, learn from those experiences, be available to teach through those experiences so someone else may not have to go through the same thing, but if they do, they can refer and say, you know what? I might try this as a solution instead. I'm here. Okay. I could do this maybe though. So what I will leave you guys with here today is don't compare yourself to someone else's journey. What they do and their personal efforts in their life does not stimulate your growth. You got to do the work. You absolutely have to do the work. While you're doing the work, look within yourself. A lot of us waste a lot of time, many years looking externally for the answers, when the only answers that we really need are within ourselves. Because we're with ourselves. Forgiveness. For yourself. You have to forgive yourself. That is the number one relationship that you need to exercise forgiveness with. You can't leave you. I'd love to hop out my body some days and scream on me. But do I have the option to literally pick up and leave? Nope. I've got me. No matter what, I've got me. So forgive yourself in the sense of without putting yourself on a pedestal. Forgive yourself and know that you're probably going to make another mistake because that's a part of life. But don't forgive yourself and then give yourself also the unrealistic expectation of perfection because you're not going to get it.
When I stood up in the church, I said, the only thing stopping me from beating her ass is this baby in my stomach. And I ran out. It was like a dramatic moment. I ran out the church. Hello, my name is Iris Goode-Middleton, and the hardest season in my life was... So I have been a serial monogamist, I would say, for many, many years. I was raised to believe that a woman should carry herself in a certain manner, and she should prepare herself to be a good wife. So when I got married the first time, I'm going to be honest, I was climbing. And like a lot of women who are climbing, I was ambitious because I wanted to achieve certain things in my life. So being married in my 20s, I don't know if I married a person who could be aligned next to someone who is as driven as I am. But I was younger. I wasn't equipped. He was cute. I liked him. He liked me. So we're supposed to marry each other. We have our children or whatever. But there are moments and issues that start to arise. I'm growing a business. I'm growing a career. And as a result, he cheats. He finds someone who can be available to him. And at that point in my life, and I even think at this point in life, I've not necessarily met the man who is going to pull me away from the things I have to do to the point, because I find that men can do whatever they want to do. Men can be ambitious, men can go after the world. But as a woman, if you do those things, you are not a good pick because you should be available. And I don't know if I've ever been good at, to be honest, as I've done reflection on me, been available. So long story cuts in half, I am pregnant with our daughter, who we have tried so hard for her. Like, we were having so many issues having our first baby. He came, boom. That little girl, we worked for her. I had several miscarriages and I'm pregnant, and he's cheating with the girl who sings in the choir. I sing next to this chick. So we're I'm trying to be cool. And I'll never forget, the affair was exposed. He left and went back to New York because we're from New York. And at this time we're living in Atlanta, and I'm pregnant and I'm confused, and people are telling me to pray about it. But praying is not making me want to not murder him. It is not making me not want to punch her in the face. And I'll never forget, I was in church and I'm sitting there, and the pastor said, because everybody was gossiping, You know how people do in church. Don't even act like it ain't you. They was gossiping. Yep, she lead the dance ministry. She dancing, and her husband out here sleeping with the girl in the choir. It's funny now. Looking back, it was not funny then. I wanted to fight. So anyway, I'm pregnant with my daughter, and the pastor made a statement, something to the effect of, you all should be like Sister at the time, Edmund. She's here. She's praying through it. Y'all gossiping, whatever. And I stood up in the church. I said, the only thing stopping me from beating her ass is this baby in my stomach. And I ran out. It was like a dramatic moment. I ran out the church. Never went back. I was so embarrassed. I hadn't showed out at the church, but I was so mad. I was like, no, I'm not. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't know what else to do. So I was there, and I didn't appreciate it that she's sitting up in the choir singing. Her behind should have been sat down because she was humping my husband. Girl, sit down. You shouldn't have been in the choir. Anyway. So this happens, and I'm in Atlanta, and he moves back to New York. Of course, we get a divorce, and life moves on. So it takes me a long time. I'm dating. I'm out here. I'm trying to figure out my life. Like, I'm confused. I'm like, I'm not going to do this again. And so then I meet my second husband. Now, I didn't meet him. I've known my second husband since high school. We've known each other for years, and I have been through some stuff at this point. So, of course, she, who is me, is not trying to add any additional crap to her love life. I have a YouTube channel. I was recently doing a YouTube video, and I was thinking to myself on my channel, it's called The Quarter Hours because I talk about me and my stuff. And I was saying, every man I've been with cheated. So now I've been interviewing my exes to uncover the cheating. I want to know why y'all cheated on me. I want to know. And so as I've been exploring this and really trying to be honest with myself, because I don't know if I necessarily believe in love now. And that's so sad. It's so sad to really not believe. I don't have any energy in me anymore to try to find the man that's going to be different than the others, because I have done my work. I've done my inventory. So to get to the worst one, I meet my high school sweetheart. He hits me up on Facebook, that dang Facebook. He's like, hey, girl. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Goodness, I ain't seen you in years. What's good? We are dating back and forth. He's here in Virginia. I am in Atlanta. He's visiting me. He is awesome. He's the bomb. He comes down. He's good to me. Next thing you know, it's my birthday. He proposes. Now, when he proposed, he gave me a box, and the box said Middleton. He wanted to give me his last name. I was like, now, after the first divorce, I said, I am never getting married again. But here I go, being dumb. Don't listen to me. Love is real. It just has escaped me. Don't you people listen to me. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go down the aisle. Cool. We set up this wedding. We're having this big wedding, and find out his mom is sick. And his mother wanted to see him with someone because he's the only child. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get married. We go ahead, we get married, and the crap starts immediately. Now, at this point, I don't want to look like a failure. So when I catch the first affair, I don't say anything. I kind of tell him, like, listen, maybe it's because of the distance, maybe because I'm here and you there. This is what's going on. So what we're going to do is you're going to come to Atlanta to me. You're coming to Atlanta because I'm not going to Virginia because I have a crew here. I get back. I'm sick. I'm real sick. I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. Pregnant. So we're newly married. The marriage is already having infidelity, and I'm pregnant. Isn't this great? So I'm like, and I'm not going to lie, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. He cried on the concrete, please have this baby. My mother was like, I know you don't think you're about to get rid of no baby. My mother don't play that. So I was like, okay, we're going to have the baby. I was struggling, and I told you I had struggled before. Somehow I have a miscarriage. So I go to the hospital. They are like, yeah, a baby's emitting, but we have something else. So apparently there were 2 fraternal twins. Somehow I don't know how that happened, but there's still a baby here. In that moment, I realized I had been so selfish. Like, I'm sitting up here mad. I don't want a baby. And in that moment, having that baby became the most important thing to me. I moved to Virginia, and I'm pregnant, and he's still cheating. I don't want to address this because I've given up so much. I'm working professionally in theater, which most people dream of doing. I'm choreographing for television. I'm killing it. And I've given it up for someone who's cheating. So you get the excuses. Oh, I've been in the military. Oh, this is all I know. This is what it is. This is, and you don't want people to know because I'm going to look crazy if people know that this is happening. So I continue on. I smile. I act like everything is good, but it's not good. I know it's not good, but I'm going to act like it's good. And maybe if I act like it's good enough, he'll stop. He'll see that I'm worthy, So in his cheating, I try to be better. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to clean extra. I'm going to cook. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to make sure I'm gorgeous all the time. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Because that has nothing to do with me. There's nothing I can do to be good enough to stop your behavior. A person who wants to do what they're going to do is going to do what they're going to do. But somehow we're under the mythological belief that we are going to become a unicorn. And they're going to say, we're so special. You, girl, you're so special that I'm going to stop cheating on you because we're internalizing their behavior and making it something to do with us. So a lot of people go through these stories. They probably cry or whatever. I'm not crying. I'm not crying because I went crazy. I went cray-cray. When I say I went crazy because I was so wrapped up in the perfectionist, not the love, not the truthfulness of marriage. I was consumed with the image of it. I wanted it to look good. We have a house and German cars in the driveway, okay? I am successful, okay? My husband is retired from the military, okay? We are the American dream. We are Black excellence, okay? Listen, it was so crappy. I'm at home miserable, okay? I am out in the world looking snatched, killing it, talking, and going home in my bed and laying next to someone who was right there. But literally, there are miles between us. I don't like you, dude. I don't like you, okay? But we're going to go out here and we're going to smile for the cameras. And then it happened. So for his 40th birthday, I have bought him 40 gifts. I had this big old show. Like, that's why people get mad at Jada for not wanting all of it. Because I did all of that show for him so it could look good. It was a performance. It was performative. It was not real. I bought him a Benz. Okay? I bought him a black damn Benz. I bought a Benz. Still cheated on me. Now, had a chick in the car. I know y'all probably like, this is insane, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Y'all know y'all still living y'all fake life, so you be perfect, girl. I'm not. It ain't me, okay? I'm a hot mess over here. So what had happened was, I decided to put a recording device in the car. Girl, guy, whoever watching this video. It's not one girl. Oh, no. It is a slew of stuff going on. He is doing the absolute and total most. If anything, I think I have raised his stock at this time because he got him. They are the fans are there. They are waiting. The girls are doing the things to steal the husband. Thing they don't realize, the husband's not going anywhere. Never gonna leave. Not gonna leave me. Not. Just not gonna happen. Entertain you, play with you. I call it the Buzz Lightyear complex. I realized something about a lot of men, not all men, because everything is subjected to people, but I can talk and think. When you are in the Buzz Lightyear complex, you think you are special. So as the other woman, you come in there and you're like, I'm special. I'm going to hump him better than his wife. I'm going to feed him better than his wife. I'm going to be more understanding. I'm great because I'm not a toy. I'm a space ranger. Buzz thought he was space ranger. Buzz Lightyear would not accept the fact that he was something to play with. And then here was Woody done behind still a toy too. Woody is a toy too. So Woody's sitting up there thinking Woody's special. Woody is like, I'm Old Faithful. I done been beat up. I've been dragged, but I'm laying here next to you. Whenever you're ready to pick me up and play with me, yay, I'm so happy. So then Woody and Buzz are going back and forth, right? Because they want Andy. But the fact of the matter is you're both toys. I might pick this one up and play with it when I want to play with it. I might pick that one up when I want to play with it. But at the end of the day, you are allowing yourself. I was allowing myself to be an optional thing that you can pick up and play with when you want to try to prove I'm better than the Space Ranger. The Space Ranger might be new. The Space Ranger might be shiny, but it's not dependable. He don't know he can go to you when it all get bad. So he gonna come back over here to me like I'm winning. I wasn't winning either. I was just the biggest dummy in the actually. Because I'm gonna always show up. Because I love you so much that I allow you to abuse me. I lost my mind, and because of the legal issues that followed, let's just say I ended up with some silver bracelets, and it wasn't good when I finally snapped. I had put him out before, so I hear the videos. I'm like, get out my house. Get out. You got to go. He moves out. He moves in with a woman who's his friend. Whatever. Finally gets an apartment. He is telling me, I want my family. I want my marriage. Now, my mother's old school. My mother is in her 80s. She's old school. And in them days, men did whatever. Not my dad now. My dad was amazing. My dad was a saint. Love you, Daddy. But they don't build them like that John Good no more. So let's get through this. He begged me. He was like, come over. I want to be with you. We need to talk. I spoke to my mother. She said, you need to go over there and make love to your husband. You need to go make love to your husband. You need to go over there and you need to stop and y'all need to have a conversation because he done learned his lesson. I don't know what it was. He still thinks I broke into his house. I did not. I literally put our house key in his apartment door and it opened. I didn't have to break in. There was no breaking in. The door opened because it was for me to see him in bed with that woman. It was for me to see him in bed with that woman. Now, I know what y'all thinking. Y'all are thinking, you jumped on him and beat his behind. No, I stood there and took a picture because I always want to remember that moment. I tap him. He wakes up, he looks at me. He jumps because he uh-oh. He thought all that New York, all that Farmers and the Brew was going to jump out, but I didn't. I held it. I did not punch him in his neck. I didn't do it. He was like, leave. Leave. Now, this is the kicker. I'm looking at you in bed with a woman. I'm your wife, who you had not even 24 hours old said you wanted me so bad, you want your family, and you in bed with another woman. I left. I got in my car. She eventually called me. And we just recently did a whole YouTube video about me and our conversation because now here we are 5 years later from this. And she called me to have a conversation with me because there were certain things that she learned in this experience, reflecting back because of the fact that I wasn't going to argue with her. Now, there were many reasons why I'm not going to argue with you because I understand how irrelevant you are to the situation. I understand that you are nothing more than a marijuana pull, a drink, a shot of something to feel better. Because he didn't want to deal with himself or deal with what was happening in our relationship. So if you want to be picked up and you want to be utilized for recreation, boo-boo, I can't stop you. Do it. Feel special. I'm going to change him. I'm going to do this, girl. Do it. If you can, great. That will mean my son will have a really good father. But I doubt you'll be successful. I was trying to just ignore that it happened. I was trying so hard to just say, F it. But I couldn't. And it came to a head. And it wasn't pretty. But due to legal circumstances, I can't get into detail. But let's just say, when he decided to come over to my house, it got ugly. Like, ugly. All the GHETTO that I have tried to bury behind these degrees and performative blackness for you people came out. It went away. He got the business. It was ugly. It was horrible. It was hurtful. It was disrespectful. It was the culmination of years of you acting a fool. And at this point, I didn't care. I used to do my Facebook Lives. I would have hundreds of people coming in. I would talk. I stopped doing everything because there was nothing I could talk about. There was nothing I could tell any woman without being completely transparent where I am now, which is why I have my social media platforms and I'm going to talk to you and tell you the truth. A lot of women sit up there and judge other women because we stay in bad relationships and we do certain things, but it's because we stay because we don't want the judgment, because I am bad if I stay. I am bad if I leave. I can't keep a man. Look at how y'all drag Holly Berry. Look at how y'all talk about that woman. She can't keep a man. Something wrong with her. Da, 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 da. So you sit there and you blame yourself because you were never taught to even think that people are this horrible. You thought that because you love, that love was going to come back to you. You thought because you're pure that was going to come back to you. Why would I think anything else? My experience hasn't taught me to be anybody but me. So the only reference point I have is myself. So as I'm looking for me in him, he doesn't have what I have. He's not equipped with what I have. It was never there. But for a while, people can mirror you. So you think that they're that. And then when you realize it's not, what do? Deal with the ridicule and the people talking about you? Laughing? So what do? You stay. You stay. Now, there's an addendum to this story. That's kind of crazy. Now, this is the really crazy part. I am in my house. He's in his house. Life is happening. We are cool now. I've moved on. I'm dating someone else at this point in my life. I have moved on. I am happy. I am good. And then the pandemic happens. Break up with said boyfriend. Business goes into the crapper. Finances are blown. I'm sitting here in panic mode. I have enough to cover the bills, but it's about to be tight, children. It's about to be tight. And it was my birthday. I was turning 44 and I had a dinner party in my living room with all my girlfriends. And he could come and go to my house because his son lives there. And I know people have different beliefs about that kind of stuff, but we always had access to each other because the baby, and we were not in a bad space anymore. I know people say, how did you forgive him? Because I had to look at me and say, I allowed this to happen. I cannot be mad at him for his trauma and his crap and the things he's doing for himself. I got to look at Iris and say, Iris, what the hell was wrong with you? That you were more concerned with how you looked than your own happiness. You cared more about what other people thought and how it would look and what people would say than truly being happy. And when I really sat down and looked at it, only then, when I got to the point where I just didn't care and lost my mind, that's the only time I was free of it, sadly. Of the ridicule and the judgment. And the stuff that I still have to listen to from other people with their opinions on what I should do or shouldn't do. Pandemic happens, and people are like, well, what's going on? He shows up at my house. My mother had apparently called him and said, your wife is over there broke. And he showed up, moved in my house. Moved in, went to his son's room at the start of it, moved into the house. I didn't say anything because I ain't no money. Well, I was like, look, the lights need to stay on around here. But it has pushed us into a very unique space. One that I am charting. I can't say we have a functioning marriage. That would be a lie. But what we do have is something that is healthy at this point, in the fact that it's in truth. There's no lying. There's no fighting. There's no crap. People talk about marriages in the space of romantic marriage and romantic partnership. And I agree. I think that's great. I don't have it. But I do have someone who showed up in my darkest hour. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that? I think he deserves a woman who can love him blindly. I see him changing. I see him growing. I don't think that once you break someone like that I could ever be that person. I think at this point, if he wants to love and be loved, unfortunately, we don't think about the damage that we do to other people and the consequences of that damage. We don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about forgiveness. We don't talk about the aftermath. That screwed him, put him out. He ain't crap. He's a piss poor husband. He has his flaws. He loves his son. I can rely on him when I need something. If something's going on, he's not going to leave me out there. I am broken to a point where I can't love him. What does that mean? I don't freaking know. I have no clue. I don't know what that is. But what I can say is, as I go through my journey, I realize that it's so much more than this cookie cutter crap we try to make it be. There's a thing that's just honesty and real. And it's not always the fairy tale or the Disney princess story. Sometimes it's being roommates with your husband who cheated on you and learning how to coexist and do what you need to do to survive and raise your family.
It started when I was about 12. Hi, my name is Marietta, and the hardest season of my life was when I was molested by my stepfather. He started to tell me how cute I looked, how once I lost my virginity, how much of a shape I would have. Then it led to, I used to think my mind was playing tricks on me when I used to go in the bathroom to take showers or take a bath. And it's like I used to hear someone outside the door. And I'm like, am I tripping? Or is it really someone there? But I really wasn't tripping. When I later found out I really wasn't tripping, he really was watching me when I was taking showers and taking baths. Then it led to him coming into my bedroom when I was asleep at night. I used to feel him go under my blanket or my sheet and kind of rub me, and then I'll wake up and it's like he'll snatch away or go away where I couldn't see him, hide behind a door or something. And thought my mom was playing tricks on me then, but it wasn't. Then it led to him going under my nightgown and rubbing on my butt and, my lady parts. Didn't have no boobs or nothing at the time. I was a 12-year-old girl. Then I told my mom about it, and she confronted him on it, and he told her that I was lying. And one day she came home from work early. She used to work nights at a grocery store. She came home from work early and caught him going under my nightgown. And he used to tell me if I said anything, he would tell everybody that it was a lie and I was just being a liar because I didn't like him as a stepfather. When my mom caught him, she cursed him out, but she did not leave him. That's what crushed me the most. She ended up marrying him after that. He told her that he did not want me in their wedding. I wasn't in my mother's wedding. I was a part of the audience. But it didn't get better after that. It only got worse to where he started to penetrate me. I was a virgin. And my mom, she used to kind of be strict on me because she got pregnant with me at 13. So she used to kind of be strict on me because she always thought that I would end up like her, pregnant at 13 with the baby. And she was always, every time I came on my period, she'd be like, pull down your pants, let me check. But one time, I didn't come on my cycle, and she thought I was pregnant. And I was like, well, you know what your husband has been doing to me. And she was like, I'm going to take you to the doctor, and if you're pregnant, you're going to get an abortion. And you're not having any kids. And she yelled at me, and it always made me feel like it was my fault. Like maybe I shouldn't do my hair, or maybe I shouldn't paint my nails, or maybe I shouldn't want to be pretty, because when I do look pretty, I get hurt by someone that has been with my mother since I was 9 years old, and I look to as a father, because he was the only father figure that I had, because my father been in prison since I was 2 months old. Um, we went to the doctor. I wasn't pregnant, but he um, did penetrate me to where it did bust my cherry. Um, I wanted to get away. I told my mom that, and um, she didn't want me to go away. I went to the school, and they was doing little interviews at the school to talk about stuff tragically that has happened in your life. And I told them what happened to me. They called social services at the time. When I was growing up, it was called DCFS. They called them. They got involved. They came out to my house, questioned my mother about it. He left and act like he didn't live there. Questioned my mom about it. And I remember clear as day my mom pulling me in the bathroom, and she said, "You tell them it's a lie, or they're going to take each and every one of y'all from me." And I went to the living room and I told the social service lady that it was a lie. So they wouldn't take me, my brother, and my sister away from my mother. And when he came back, he beat my mom. He beat my mom bad. And I recall jumping on his back and telling him, "Don't beat her, don't beat her." He pushed me off and I flew back. And I told my mom, I said, "You get me away from him, or I'm going to try to do something very bad to him." And she got me a one-way ticket to Seattle, Washington. I went to Seattle, Washington, and he was so fearful that I was going to tell my grandmother, that I was going to tell my uncles, or tell my dad, because even though my dad wasn't there, he did call me often. He did write me that he moved to Seattle too. Made my mom get up and move to Seattle, leave her job, leave everything behind, because he was that scared. And my mom called me and she said, "Please, whatever you do, don't tell anyone what happened. Don't tell nobody. What goes on in our house stays in our house." And I didn't tell anyone. I kept quiet. I was scared that something else would happen, that they would take us. And my mom had another baby bomb. So he moved to Seattle. I lived with my uncle Tucci. And I wanted to tell him so bad. It was so much in me that wanted to tell him, but I couldn't, because my mom, we played by the rule. What goes on in our house stays in our house. And that was that. Couple months had went by. He used to try to bump into me in the hallway at family functions, like Thanksgiving, when all the family used to get together, because I wasn't living at my mom's house. We all stayed in the same apartment complex though, but I wasn't living there. He used to try to rub against me, or try to, if I'm standing towards a cabinet or something, he'll rub past where his private would touch my butt or something. And I'd be like, "Oh," he'd be like, "You better act like you know." And it just crushed me. And I told my mom, and she kind of ignored it. Not saying that my mom didn't love me, because I know my mom loved me, but she just wasn't there for me like she should have been, or nurturing to the situation at all. He beat my mom really bad when we lived in Seattle also. He ended up leaving her and went back to Chicago. When he went back to Chicago, that's when things got better for me. He went to Chicago. He destroyed my mom home really bad. Destroyed it real, real bad. To where she had to start over. I moved back in with my mom because she had my little sisters to help her raise them. I helped my mom raise my little sisters and brother. And time went by. I ended up meeting a guy that was in the military. And I told him about what happened. And you never tell a man everything about you, because he used it to his advantage when he was trying to destroy me. He cheated on me and told me I wasn't worth anything because look where I came from. My stepfather used to molest and rape me. He is actually the one that brought me here to Virginia. I ended up marrying him. He brought me here to Virginia. I always went back home to Chicago because my two younger sisters is the daughters of my stepfather. And I always ran into them. And my sisters got of age because I used to always ask them when they went to their dad's house for the weekend when I came home from Chicago. I used to be like, hey, did you feel anybody touching you or anything? Did something feel strange? Did your dad brush past you? Or did your dad fondle you? And my sister, when she turned 18, she asked me why I asked her that. And I told her, I said, well, you're of age now, I could tell you. Your dad used to molest and rape me. And she was like, my dad molested and raped you? I told both of them, yeah. So she said, I'm going to call mom and ask her right now about it. She called my mom. My mom act like she forgot about it. And my sister confronted her on it. When she confronted her on it, my mom told me that she apologized for not protecting me. But before she apologized for not protecting me, she said, if he did all that to you, why you felt so comfortable coming back to Chicago and you knowing he was around? And it kind of hurt me because I looked my enemy in his face, the devil in his face, and it crushes me because nobody in my family is going to know my story until now. But she apologized about everything. And that was the first time. And I'm 37 now. It took until I was 30 years old for my mom to say, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And to this day, I have a color complex for dark-skinned men. Like when I see a dark-skinned man, I'm instantly not attracted because it makes me think about him. I have a daughter now, and my husband, I tell him, you can't change my daughter's diaper. I don't want no man touching my daughter. And it's something in me that I have to deal with on a personal level. But he was like, I'll never do anything to my daughter. And I know that. But I also thought a man that helped raise me would never do anything to me. And he did. I'm very protective of my daughter. She's only 5 months, but I don't want her to ever experience anything like that. I'm protective with my sons. I tell them it's no zones. No one can touch you in your private area. No one can rub your shoulders. No one can brush past you. No one can touch your hair. Those are all signs that it can lead elsewhere. Um, I'm starting a nonprofit organization called Listen. And I got a cell phone for if a child or an adult, anybody is being molested, raped, um, in the home. You could just call that number. And I'm going to listen. I'm going to hear you out. You don't have to say nothing. Because with my ex-stepfather or the man that was married to my mother, I don't even know what to call him. He would listen to my phone conversations when I was younger. Used to tell my mom I was going to grow up to be gay. Used to tell my mom that I was always lying about going to work and stuff. And I know all those signs and traits. So if you call that phone, you don't have to say anything. I know you in harm's way when you call that number. And I would do anything to get a person out of trouble. I do anything to protect kids. I love kids. I have 4 children. When I got with my husband, I broke it down to him of what happened to me. And he said, don't ever put me in a room with him because I would never have respect for him. My sister, one of his daughters, she has a daughter now. And it cringed my soul to see her sitting on her grandpa's lap at a dinner. And because of what he did to me, about 6 months ago, I found out that it wasn't just me he did it to. He did it to 3 of his daughters, his blood daughters. You have to be a very sick individual to do something like that to your daughter. You're supposed to be her first line of defense towards any man that come towards her. I mentally had dealt with a lot. I got counseling. I had a therapist. I used to hold a lot in. This happened to me from when I was 12, 13, and 14. I'm 37, and now I'm telling my story. I feel like you shouldn't have to be quiet about this. And it happens so much in the Black community where Uncle John or Uncle Billy and Aunt Susie do stuff and it's swept under the rug, and it shouldn't happen that way. Uncles touching their nieces, stepfathers touching their stepdaughters, and it's something serious, and it messes with us mentally. I feel you shouldn't have to hold it in. Run, tell someone, get away from it, because if you don't, it would eat you up from the inside out. But it can happen. You can get over it. I got over it. I've been with my husband 14 years. I used to not want to have sex because it made me have flashbacks of me being molested and raped. But through counseling and talking, telling my story, it helped me get over it and be able to move forward. I'm coming into me now. I just closed on my first home, paid off my car, coming into me now. And he can't hold me back. He has no shield over me. It's nothing he can do in this world today that will make me stop being me. And every time I go back home to Chicago, I look the devil in his face to let him know, you didn't break me. but I broke you with my success. And that's my story.